Continuing our study of Hebrews, we are going to be looking at Hebrews chapter 2, the first 8 verses. The author writes, "For this reason, we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard, so that we do not drift away from it. For if the word spoken through angels proved unalterable, and every transgression and disobedience received a just penalty, how will we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? After it was at the first spoken through the Lord, it was confirmed to us by those who had heard, God also testifying with them both by signs and wonders and various miracles, and by gifts of the Holy Spirit, according to his own will. For he did not subject to angels the world to come, concerning which we are speaking. But one has testified somewhere, saying, What is man that you remember him, or the Son of Man that you are concerned about him? You have made him for a little while lower than the angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor, and have appointed him over the works of your hands, and you have put all things in subjection under his feet. For in subjecting all things to him, he left nothing that is not subject to him. But now we do not yet see all things subjected to him." He's continuing on with this thought that Jesus as the Son of God, that, explaining what that means and how that works. And he's saying, now we've got to pay attention to this gospel. We've got to listen. We've got to focus on this. We've got to make sure that we are paying attention so that we don't drift away from it. If you've ever been in a boat that's not anchored or tied up somewhere, you know that it's very easy while you're tending to whatever. You may be fishing, you may just be enjoying the day in the boat. It's very easy to drift. The winds or the motion of the water will carry you where you aren't paying attention and possibly into danger. It's a very easy thing to do when we are not paying attention to the big picture. We've got to keep our eyes open if we don't want to drift. And that's what he's kind of talking about here. We get focused on the little things that are right before us, dealing with the fishing poles or whatever we're doing, the little things of right now, right here. And when we don't look out and watch, we will be drifting. And so if we don't watch out what's going on with our theology, with our lives, our behavior, our relationship with Christ, we'll drift away from it. And he's warning us about how serious this is. He says, "For if the word spoken through angels proved unalterable," he's talking about the Old Testament revelation. Once it was spoken, it's not changed. Cannot be changed. It is set. And if we violate, when we violate the laws of God, the Ten Commandments come to mind, there is punishment. And it will be punished. So, he said if that, just spoken by angels, and he's already started making the point that Jesus is superior to the angels. It said, how will we escape if we neglect such a great salvation? How can we hope that if we ignore what Christ has done, and if we ignore the demands of the gospel on our lives, total submission to God, how can we escape punishment if we ignore that? We cannot. It will be punished. No, there's just no out. There's no way out. There's no way free. except through Jesus Christ. We have to pay attention. We cannot neglect this and escape punishment, escape what is the condemnation for sin. And he goes on to say this was first spoken through the Lord. This came first from Jesus Christ himself, came through God, confirmed by those who had heard. We're talking about the apostles, the early disciples of the church. God testified with them by both signs, wonders, various miracles, gifts of the Holy Spirit according to his own will. He's referring to the different things that God gives to Christians in order to serve each other, to minister there. And he goes on to, make the point that Jesus is superior. He said God did not subject to angels the world to come, or literally the inhabited earth. He did not put the angels in charge of that. He did not put the angels as rulers over this world. But Jesus Christ himself is the Lord and ruler of all creation. And he quotes this passage in Psalms there, and talking about how God, the prophecy that God would put everything under Jesus' feet. And he says, there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that is not subject to Jesus Christ. Now, we don't see it all yet because the world is still in rebellion. The final battle has not yet been fought. But Jesus is Lord. He will put all things under his feet. He will totally rule. He will totally destroy sinners and sin, Satan and his devils. So we have to pay attention to what is going on. We have to pay attention to this gospel, or we cannot escape.